Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out here this afternoon. I know it's Friday, the weather's beautiful, and you probably want to be other places, but the speech is really important to me. First of all, it's part of my Speech 100 class. Then it has to be anywhere between 6 to 8 minutes, and there has to be 4 adults present. But more than that, it has something near and dear to my heart. There's a lot of these stories that really affected me when I was growing up. So the reason I have you here, and the topic of my speech, is to persuade you not to drive while intoxicated. Okay? And you might be asking, how do I know about all this stuff? How do I know? The reason I chose this is because of my past jobs. I used to be a bartender for 6 years. And while I was a bartender, I had to learn all the different rules in Texas by the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission as far as what we're allowed to do and drinking and the rules of drinking and driving and the blood alcohol content level. So also with that, I've had 6 friends die from drinking and driving accidents. That's more than all of us in this room, and that's quite a bit. And the last bullet you see here, I've had one friend that spent 8 years in jail because of drinking and driving, and I'll get to that story just a little bit later on. So with that said, what can happen if you drive while intoxicated? There's obviously a lot of things that can happen, and I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot of what ifs, what if this happens, what if this happens, but I'm going to kind of keep it very, very general. So the first option, if you drink and drive, or if you drive while intoxicated, the first thing that can happen is absolutely nothing. Just because you drive drunk doesn't mean you're going to get arrested or you're going to kill somebody. It's very normal for people to drive drunk every day and absolutely nothing happens. I'm not here to lie to you guys or scare you guys. I'm here to give you the real, honest truth and some real statistics that can be found at Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. So there's another option if you drink and drive. Obviously you can be arrested. Nobody wants to be arrested. You get caught drinking and driving, you will have a drinking and driving charge on your record for the rest of your life. But with that said, as I said earlier, not everyone that drives drunk gets caught. In fact, most drunk drivers drive about 80 times before their first arrest. So that's quite a bit. The next bullet is by David Hansen. He says that in the United States, the average blood alcohol level in all 50 states is 0.08. There's an asterisk there because Michigan will be raising their blood alcohol content to 0.10% coming this next year. The next bullet is by Chris Solomon, and it can be found on MSN Money. He says that the average DUI arrest can cost an estimated of $10,000. So that's a lot of money. If you guys have $10,000 to spare, please give it to me, give it to Joanna. We can all use it. The next thing is 1.4 million people arrested for DUI in 2010, and that's in America. So take the 1.41 million, the $10,000. There's a lot of money involved in this, but more than that, there's other things at stake, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So with that said, what other options if you get arrested? If you don't get arrested and nothing happens, what else can happen? Obviously you're deaf. See it? Nice toe tag. I'm sure no one wants one. We all have loved ones. People love us, and they don't want to see you with that on your foot. But it does happen. In fact, in America, almost 10,000 people died in car crashes during 2011 because of people that were driving intoxicated. That's almost 10,000. So, also, about 27 people a day die due to drunk driving. So, pretty much for as long as we've been here this afternoon, at least one person has died, just since we've been in each other's company. But there's something else. What if you kill or paralyze someone else? Let's say nothing happens to you, you get home, but on your way home you crash into someone else. There's 2 tombstones, that's 4 people. And you live through all this. But also, let me ask you, what would you say to the person that either killed or permanently paralyzed your spouse, your child, your sibling, or your parent? What would you say to that person? And remember, an apology and I'm sorry doesn't help anything. It doesn't fix anything. 211. That's how many children died in 2010 in the United States from drinking, from accidents involved with alcohol. And actually 136 of those were driving with the person that was intoxicated. So 200, that's a lot of children, a lot of lives lost. So vehicular manslaughter, vehicular homicide, DUI homicide, depending on what state you live in the United States, those are some of the names that can carry with you if you kill someone while drinking and driving. Earlier in the slide presentation, I told you one of my friends spent 8 years in jail. He was driving home drunk on a highway where they were doing construction, and he hit an off-duty police officer, killing that off-duty police officer, spent the next 8 years of his life in jail. I'm sure we'd all like to take back 8 years of our life, so don't waste 8 years drinking and driving. Solutions. Mr. Einstein said there's a solution to everything, right? The first one, have a bartender call a taxi. If you're drinking and you need a bartender to call a taxi, I promise you they will. If they don't, then they shouldn't be in the business to start out with. Or you can call a friend or family member. If they're a true friend, they will come pick you up. And your family members will come pick you up. That's a $10,000 phone call that you just saved just from making that one phone call. So, and here are all my references for anything that you've seen today. Like I said, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the other two are on there. So with that, I definitely want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. But before we go, I'm going to show you one clip. And this is just something for you guys to remember next time you want to drink and drive.
It's not just the physical injuries. You have to learn to cope with that. It's the sheer waste and the stench of alcohol that stays with you. I'm just going to inform you that your daughter Lucy has been involved in a car accident and will need to come down.
What's very listening? Hey, can't get on the other line, lady. I'm going to get on the phone with us. What's the objective for safety? Initially, being damaged quite severely, and there's a possibility that she may lose that leg. We'll also scan their head to look at whether there's any head injury as well.
They drink too much and they drive. They smash up their cars and the people they're supposed to care about. And if they survive, they're the ones that have to live with that. And that's the real tragedy. If you drink, then drive. You're a bloody idiot.
Okay, so thanks again, and please drink responsibly.
7:25.
And the 4 audience members, there you go.